Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Shilamida with your hostess, Shilamida. So on today's show, I just want to talk about how in a blink of an eye, everything can change for you. We're always waiting for something to happen, and we think that it needs to be like this big event, or we need to expect something to happen right away. But the truth is that when you detach from the outcome, miracle and magic can happen. And this week I'm celebrating my 12-year meeting anniversary with my husband. And literally this whole week I've been just going back in time and thinking about what it was like for me 12 years ago. If you can imagine, I was extremely overweight. I was probably around 200 pounds at this point. I was a single mom living on food stamps. So life was really hard. And every moment of every day was just so hard for me. And it took a lot for me to be grateful. It took a lot for me to be positive. It took a lot for me to have this positive outlook, right? When you guys are watching my videos now, or you're looking at my social media, you see happy and go lucky and like all of the things, right? But it wasn't always like this. And the truth is that if you would have told me 12 years ago that tomorrow my entire life would have changed, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So I want to invite you to really think about what if. What if tomorrow you wake up and your entire life changes? Your love that you've been manifesting finally steps into your life, or that business that you've wanted to start, an opportunity comes your way, or just something, anything. There's so many things that can happen that, like this, everything shifts. And I know in the online coaching space and in the world of knowing, we always want to know how. How is it going to happen? How am I going to manifest that? How am I going to have the money to do that? How is this going to happen for me, right? But in the world of manifesting, there is no how. You have to take the how out of it. You have to trust that it's just about to happen. You have to surrender. And that word surrender, I talk about it a lot. And in 2019, I was on a retreat in Hawaii, and my word was surrender. And I literally fell and banged up my knee, and the universe was like, okay, sister, we're going to make you surrender. But the truth is that I really didn't even know what surrender was then. And fast forward now, we're in 2023, we're 4, 5, 6 years after that retreat. And only now am I really starting to understand what the word surrender means, because I'm a hustler, or at least I am a recovering hustler. There was a time where I would be working all day, every day. I would be working multiple jobs. I would be going for every single opportunity that comes my way. And it's actually really hard for me not to go after the opportunity. For anybody that knows anything about human design, I am a 4-line, and the 4-line is an opportunist. And right now I'm in a place in my life where I'm really just trying to surrender, which means that I don't want to do anything, but my innate being is leading me towards doing something. And every time I have to pull back and say, no, I'm just going to allow for this time to be, because I know the things that I've already put out into the universe. I know what's coming, right? So when you have this belief system inside that the universe is going to deliver, that means that the universe is going to deliver. So if I was to rewind backwards 12 years to the day that I met my husband, the day before, if you would have told me that I was going to meet a man that was 47 years old, which I'm about to be 44, so we know that 47 is not that old now. But when I was 31, had you told me that tomorrow I was going to meet a 47-year-old man who was going to sweep me off my feet and change my entire life, I probably would have responded with, ew. That was not going to happen for me, right? Because we get stuck in the thinking of, well, I'm not going to date a man that's 15 years older than me, or I'm not going to date a man who's almost 50, or I'm not going to date a man who has a wife, which mine just so happened to come with one. And so those are all of the things that you really need to put away and put aside, and just know that when you trust and you surrender, you really have to trust and surrender, right? Like if somebody was to say to me, hey, the man of your dreams, he's still married, my mind would have taken me to a whole bunch of places. I probably wouldn't have even met him the day that I met him and have created this beautiful life that we've created. But that's why you have to take the how out of the equation, and you really have to trust, right? So we're going to go back to the same words over and over again. It's trust and it's surrender. Once you start getting into the thinking mind is not creating. It's the detachment of the outcome. It's the knowing that you deserve more, you're worthy of more, that you want and desire all of these things, but they're not just going to come to you because you think that you should have them, right? You have to get yourself to a place of feeling, that feeling inside of worthiness, of true happiness, of knowing that we're here in this life to experience life. So the key word there is experience. And so when we're thinking, we're not experiencing, we're thinking. And when we're trying, we're not experiencing because we're trying. But when we're in surrender, we can actually experience the moment and we can feel what it feels like. And that's the whole purpose of my life right now in this moment, is really experiencing the moment. 2 weeks ago, I made a pact with myself that I was going to do something new every single day. And I was going to savor in the newness. And it wasn't that I had to go out and do like these crazy things, but last week I went and I bought an acai bowl, right? Like that's not really new. But what I did is I took that acai bowl and I took it to a park bench and I sat on the bench and I actually sat there with my bowl and I enjoyed every bite. I didn't flip over my phone. I didn't get on the phone with someone and start a conversation. I actually noticed the sounds around me, the colors around me, the taste of every bite, because we all live these lives where it's rush, 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 go, 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 do the next thing. And pre-COVID, that was me, right? I was a successful businesswoman. I was making multiple six figures, but I wasn't enjoying the moment because it wasn't about the now. I was busy chasing the $1 million day, the $1 million year, the next experience, the next moment. And I was not actually living. I was chasing, I was dreaming, but I wasn't actually there. And so I invite you to land in the now, to be here in this moment, because in an hour, everything can shift for you. The phone could ring with the best news of your life or even the worst news of your life, right? Sometimes we don't realize that the worst things happening to us are the best things that are going to happen to us, because in the moment, the emotion and the feeling is just so much that we don't see what's about to happen on the other side, right? So as I mentioned, my husband had a wife. And so if I was to actually break down that whole situation, there wasn't going to be any kind of enjoyment because it was a sin. It was wrong. It was all the things that society tells us is not right about the situation. And so we get sucked into that and we can't see past that. But here we are 12 years later. It was the best decision of my life. It was the best decision of his life. But if we went backwards in time and we lived through those moments and we actually talked about those moments in the moment, this would have been a very different conversation. So I invite you to look back in your life in hindsight and to think about what was a moment that in the moment you thought was so bad, or maybe a moment that you thought was so good, that was so life-changing, and it shifted everything for you. And if you can't get into that vibe and you can't think of a situation, then I invite you to take this moment and break down this moment. What are you seeing around you? What are you sensing? What are you feeling? How can you make this moment the best moment of your life? Because truthfully, this could be the last moment, right? There's people who went to sleep last night that didn't get the opportunity to wake up today. And because of that, we need to know and understand that every single minute that we get to breathe and we get to be alive is a moment that we need to rejoice and be happy and feel all the feelings of love and gratitude and abundance. Because that's all we have is this moment now. And the more that you connect to that inner knowing, the more that you allow yourself to trust and surrender, all of your dreams are going to come true. I know it, I believe it, and I know that you're worthy of it. Thanks so much for watching the show. I really appreciate and I'm grateful for those of you that come back and watch every single week. For those of you that are looking for more Shilamida, you can find me on my website at www.shilamida.com. It's SHILAMIDA. Amida. Make sure you check out the Shill Shop where you can get all of my books, past classes, and meditations for your viewing pleasure right away. You can also find me online. I hang out on Instagram at 50 Shades of Shilamida. If you are listening to the show, you can find me on YouTube and watch the show. If you are watching the show, go check out my Facebook at Shilamida Cooperstein, soon to be Friedman. Also, you can find me on Pinterest. Thanks so much. See you soon.